Welcome to my channel. This is where we discuss astro-theology and how that is all tying into what's happening in the sky and how that's tying into our storybook of our reality and how they're using the sky as their script. So what a week. Oh my God. Yesterday was crazy when the Omicron came out, and I couldn't believe it, right? Because of the video I just done about David Bowie's Omicron video game. So I did find the star that I do believe that it's tying to. Most constellations have an Omicron star because it's just they use the Greek alphabet to distinguish the brightness of stars. So just picking an Omicron star out of nowhere is like, there's nothing really important to that. But I did find a very, very, very important star called Omicron Mira, and this star is called the Star of Wonder. So this is all tying into Christmas. So in this video, I want to go over the next eclipse, which is December 4th. Then we have another one in April, and then we have the blood moon in May. And these three stages, or actually the one that's happening December 4th, and then the one that's happening in May, to me are like the two final stages of alchemy. Everything's tying in to that symbolism. So I really want to go over those and kind of bring a lot of mythology into it and show you how they're using these two events to finish up the three stages of alchemy, which ends up being black, white, and then red and white. The last stage is often represented as a red diamond or the golden body. So obviously David Bowie's video game had some huge importance because they ended up giving like a free coupon when he died to go on to this video game. And it was, it came out in 1999, so it was really old. But what was interesting that they announced the Omicron on Black Friday. Now, Friday is Venus Day. So it's the Black Star, which was his last album. They mention in the articles here, Omicron Day, Black Friday, or Red Friday. So they're kind of like playing with the two colors because of the market, went down. Now, the number that they give for it is B11529. And I looked to see if I could find anything in the sky. I couldn't. No stars are numbered after that number. Not any that I could find. But what was interesting, when you take the lettering, right, B11, it's like B is 2, 211 is 22. And then if you go 5 and then 29, 5 is, and then 11. And the 5 and 11 is mirroring this blood moon that's happening on May 15th. That's all ties to David Bowie's song, 5:15, when the angels leave. So, that is significant that it's coming out to the 2 and the 5s. Now, somebody mentioned to me like 2 and 5 can be like reversed, like they're the same number, just like in digital form. But this I found. It's like a blood moon, like a red circle, right? He's all in red, and you've got the 5:15, and then on the opposite diagonal, you got the barcode. So you have the two paths. So that was kind of a cool find. Now, did you know that the last thing that David Bowie's Twitter account commented on was an account that was known as the God account? So he followed this account, was this last thing he did on Twitter. So the last person David Bowie followed on Twitter was a parody account claiming to be the tweets of God. The account is connected to a Broadway play, An Act of God. In response to the news, the tweet from the Tweet of God reads, "David Bowie was the God I always wanted to be. Honestly, hanging out with David Bowie is even cooler than I thought it would be." So that was on, I'm saying here, God tweeted this out on January 11th, 2016. Now, if you've been following my channel, you know the importance of the needle and how this ties into Elvis Presley and Babe Ruth, because Elvis was the first person to take polio. Babe Ruth was the first person to take the chemo. and they both died on August 16th. Now, I didn't know this, that David Bowie was born on the same day as Elvis Presley, on January 8th. So David Bowie was a big fan of Elvis, and Elvis had this pin called Taking Care of Business. It's like a lightning bolt, and I guess this is what inspired David to make his Aladdin Sane lightning bolt across his face. And like I mentioned in my last video, it ties into the Hebrew alphabet Lamba. Now, he released Space Odyssey in Thailand in the mid-70s, Bowie's first hit reaching number 15. That's Omicron, okay? The Greek letter is number 15 is Omicron. And who knows why RCA didn't just use the original B-side for it in Thailand release. Instead, they picked The Fool, which was already an obscure Elvis B-side on Steamroller Blues, his number 17th hit in 1973. So we got number 17, which is the letter Q. Okay, so this is it's crazy, right? So Elvis does this song called The Fool. Now, you guys know, if you've been listening to my channel, like the Fool card, number 22, as there's 22 cards of tarot cards, and the Fool is the 0, but that would make it the 22, catch 22. And you want to be the fool, because basically that's what we have to be. Nobody believes us, and you're considered like the outcast and the fool. But that's the person that goes along like la-di-da-da-da, I can see what's going on, and I know it's all an illusion, and I'm happy with it. Okay, so you want to play the fool card. So they put the fool card on his album. Like, I couldn't believe it. Bowie was a big fan of Elvis, and at short notice he crossed the Atlantic on a plane to attend an Elvis concert in New York in 1972, even though he had a strong fear of flying. The Ziggy Stardust Companion printed the quote that Bowie made in 1996 concerning the Elvis concert he attended. Elvis was a major hero of mine, and I was probably stupid enough to believe that having the same birthday as him actually meant something. I came over for a long weekend. I remember coming straight from the airport and walking into Madison Square Garden very late. I was wearing all my glauber from Ziggy, period, and had great seats near the front. The whole place just turned to look at me, and I felt like a right idiot. I had brilliant red hair, some huge padded spacesuit. So, it was just like he stood out like a sore thumb. So it was just funny because he did this, but I think it's to kind of tie him to Elvis, because it's, he's like the newer version of Elvis, the representation of the using alchemy and using the esoteric through all their songs, and then, through their image, because their images, they're outside of the box. They're kind of, they dress up in these space kind of things, with Elvis with his cape and everything. And it's funny because they're both born on Sagittarius, right on the Cape, so Jupiter rules Jupiter, Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So it's like, it's just interesting because they're kind of like recreating themselves all the time, and then they're really liked, but then they're saying we don't follow the rules. So it's kind of the same type of character. Now, this tweet was buzzing around today, that Omicron is in relation to May 2022. So I was like, ooh, that's good, because that's when the blood moon is, in May. So they're kind of showing us this. But they're not showing all the letters. And I know Omicron is number 15 because I decoded the whole Greek alphabet to the Hebrew alphabet and all through the tarots. And the beginning of it all is like perfect. And so they go down. Number 15 is the devil card. It's Capricorn, right, who holds the key. He's Pan. So Pan relates to the devil because he has his horns and they've turned him into a devil, but he's really the green man. And Omicron is known as the big O, and this ties into Capricorn. I've read somewhere a long time ago, I saw Capricorn is the O. Okay, so it's because of Omicron, because it ties to the devil card, and devil card is Capricorn. Okay, so now this was the album for the Omicron video game, Hours, because it has to do with time. And then we have the barcode again, and then the two realities of David, one being one David dead and one David alive. Now, I just watched the Multiverse movie, not like an Avenger one, but it was like just three college students. I think it was a Canadian film, and they were showing it was all about infinity. You know, the sideways 8 and infinity written in it, which is the strength card. And what's funny is they were showing how there's other timelines that are identical to this one, but you know, the two of you can't live in the same time. So one of you has to die and the other one gets to live. So it was kind of a weird film like that. So that doesn't surprise me with his artistry on this album cover, because it's basically the same thing. Okay, so December 4th, which is soon, we have this really a diamond ring eclipse. The other one in April 30th is only partial, and then the May 15th, 16th blood moon at midnight. It's the Omega blood moon, because it's happening in Libra, which is Omega. Now, December 4th is Saturday, so that's Saturn Day. So it's tying in the first stage of alchemy to Saturn. Now, Omicron is also Omega. It's the older version of it. So I was busy posting about Omicron on my Facebook yesterday, as soon as it came out, and somebody posted this, that it says very unusual constellation of mutations. I'm like, what is that? So they're tying it to the sky, right? Like, look up, what's going on? So this is the Mira star. It's Omicron Cetus. It's in the big whale, right? Like, Odin's Sleipnir horse, it's the big whale, it's the big beast. It's the beast. Mira, related to the words miraculous and admire from the Latin miras, wonderful, is described as a deep garnet-colored star. So it's a red star located in the neck of the whale or the sea monster. And you guys know that I had mentioned that Odin's Wild Hunt Day was January 6th, and then Trump called the Wild Protest, was all to do with Odin. Now, Odin rides the beast, the Cetus, and Trump's car is called the Beast. Okay, so the beast is really Santa Claus' sleigh, right? It's the beast, and it's also tying to the wagon, which is Odin's wagon, is the Big Dipper. Okay, so it's there's different characters in the sky, and they're layered. It's not like, oh, that constellation is this and this is this. They kind of like layer on top of each other. So there's different mythology, but it's to make you fear it, right? It's to make you think first it's hidden, and then they add fear to it to see if you can have discernment and figure it out. The goal is to always see the light of this polarity. Don't focus on the darkness, or don't fear the darkness. Don't go, oh, it's all evil here. Just go, yeah, it is. And it's there to help me learn and move on and become light. So here they're just saying the history is long with this star. And back in 1592, they had done a mistake and thought it was a nova. So it has a big, huge history. And they've been fascinated with this star for centuries. And did you know that the Star of Wonder, or the wonderful star, Mira, was actually discovered on August 13th? And that is what George Washington aligned the whole Washington triangle to. It was mentioned in a Freemason video that it was all aligned to August 13th. So not only is it the goddess Diana or Hecate that it's all aligned to, because the spring triangle is circumference of Virgo, Arcturus, and Leo. So I've explained this before in my past videos about Washington, but the fact that it was discovered on August 13th is like amazing. So this is the miraculous star. And this happened in 1596. As for poor ugly Cetus, he also represents the gates to the underworld, thanks to his position under the elliptical plane. Arab legend has it that Cetus carries 2 pearl necklaces, one broken and the other intact, which oddly enough you can see among its faint stars in the circular pattern when nights are dark. No matter what the legends are, Cetus is a rather dim but interesting constellation. Mira Omicron situs. The very name telling us that we should take strong notice. Mira, the amazing one, the word coming from the same root as miracle. So literally here they're calling it the Star of Wonder. Omicron Seta Mira. And it's a big red star. So it has a red giant and a white dwarf. So it's the red and white, which is the final stage of alchemy. And then they're saying here in Latin, it's for the wonderful or the astonishing. So I'm like, it's the Star of Wonder. It's Christmas time. It's the red and white star, right? It's Santa Claus. Oh my God. It's the Christmas Carol. Star of wonder, star so bright. Da, 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 da. You know that. So I don't know the lyrics, but anyhow, it's amazing. So that's the freaking star. It's the Star of Wonder. It's the Omicron. So they're getting everybody to like hate it, right? They're like, oh my God, it's a disease. But it's the Star of Wonder. That's how this realm works. It makes you hate everything that's good. It's an upside down world. So when I was digging around, I also found this star Omicron in South Africa. So it's tied to Africa. And it's this ship, right? It's a cargo ship, but it's going to Las Palmas in Spain where the volcano is. It's on its way there right now. And it's going to get there on December 2nd, 2 days before the eclipse. So I'm just like, and it says your position received 11 days ago. So anyhow, I was kind of like, whoa, this is really creepy because I just finished watching. Terry had sent me this video that somebody was decoding, pet goat and I Pet Goat movie, and they were noticing on the Simpsons show that they had a canary bird that was staring at La Palmas, that the volcano and part of it was missing, part of the island was missing. And you know how Simpsons like predict the future. So it's like they were saying that it's, if it was to blow, like somebody blew it up, or if the volcano really blew, it could cause a tsunami on the east coast of the United States, which always gets me thinking because of New York City and, those big giant gates that Trump put in, these big water gates, like there were massive gates that he put in New York City. So I'm just like, I wonder if that's all part of this, because Las Palmas is like the hand. It means hand. It's the palm. It's the palm of your hand. So the hand of God. Maybe it's not this timeline, or maybe it's happening later, but all I know is it's kind of weird that this Omicron star ship is going there like this week, right before the eclipse. The flag that it's carrying is Marshall Islands, and this is the flag for Marshall Islands. Now, they're saying that the cross of the star is like Christianity, but then all the other spheres of it are for all the islands because it's like a cluster of islands there. The cluster is actually in a pyramid shape. I looked at it on the map. I didn't post it, but it's kind of weird. It's like a a V. There are two main island chains in the Marshall Islands: the Ratak sunrise and the Ralek sunset, represented by the flag's two stripes, orange for the Raquel and white for the Raquette. So we got kind of like the sunset and sunrise. The island were once administered by the U.S., but became self-governed in 1979. Now the seal is interesting. You have like the ship, and then you have like the Neverland, the island. Then you have this kind of weird pentagram symbol at the bottom. Then you have the chain that has a broken link in it, which basically means freedom out of the Ouroboros. And then you have like the eagle flying away, which is ascension. So it's All these islands in like South Pacific where Captain Cook went represent like this freedom. So I have to do a whole video on that. I have a lot of information on that that ties into Neverland and everything. So I will do that next. Oh, I just realized it's the Templar cross on the bottom. Represents the four corners of the earth, or the four cardinal points. Now this is in Italy with this almost like sacred geometry, and they have the 12-pointed star in the center. And I think these two statues, I believe these two statues are Gemini outside of it on horses. I think that's where that came from. So way back in 1893, they had this World Columbian exhibition in Chicago when all the cities in the US were absolutely beautiful. So Chicago was like the symbol of beauty, and then they ended up trying to clean up New York City because of it. So they got these guys called the White Wings and started cleaning up all the streets in New York City. And here they're calling it the White City, where they had this Columbian exhibition as well. And this was in New York City. And you can see how beautiful it was. They mentioned the Puck building. I guess this was a huge landmark at the time. And this is for the magazine Puck, which was very popular. And that was their printing house. Here it is now in modern day. You can see that there's this little golden guy on the corner and also over the doorway, and he's looking at a mirror. Now, I was fascinated by this because Puck is Pan. He's actually the Pan god. It's pronounced in different ways in different languages, like Puck or Puka, Puka. So it's like he's Pan. The character Pan is also referred to as Robin Goodfellow. So the word Robin is also Puck. And then they're saying here that he was the Green Man. And in 1639, he was represented as Pan. Imagery given that Puck's, he has hindquarters, cloven hooves, and horns as a goat. Now, what I learned from Dan Winters, I posted on my Facebook, that Ascension actually gives you horns, crystalline horns inside your head and your lateral ventricles, which is your third eye, which is Taurus, the bull, between the horns, the silver gate. And this all ties to your own body, being able to take on Kundalini and retain memory through death, through some sort of death, to be able to cross over and retain memory. You end up getting horns inside your head. So this is why the whole Pan, and then they make the devil seem evil because they don't want you to realize that you can do this. Oberon is like the fairy world. He's the king of the fairies. But look, there's these bigger people that are asleep in this realm, and then all the little people, are happy and are in bliss. So this is an interesting painting. So this is where the esoteric is passed through, right? Through all the artwork and through poetry. And then they had this book called The Rewards and Fairies, and Puck is mentioned in it, in a book called Puck of Pook's Hill. Now, part of the poems in this book, thought this was fun. The astrologer's phrase for his art and how the stars rule over humanity. There you go. And it also ties into a plague. We're living in folklore. So, the Puck building is that little piece of the building on the left that you can barely see. Now, this building is what David Bowie lived in. Right beside the Puck building, that is all tied to the Pan god and the little Puck character that's on the outside of the building. The little golden boy looking at the mirror. So this was his apartment, and it was 9A. So he's a 9. I just finished watching The Nines. Somebody had recommended it, and I was blown away. You have to watch it. It's Ryan Reynolds in it, the same as Free Guy, but it's like, yeah, it's crazy. It's really telling us that we're in a simulation. And I'm just assuming if you're listening to my channel, you're a 9. Okay, so let's look at this December 4th eclipse in the sky. Now, eclipse looks like a diamond ring. and it's called the diamond, eclipse. So this eclipse is happening in Ophiuchus, which is the doorway out of here. It's in conjunction with Mercury, the sun, and the moon. Looks like a snake's eye. And then Vesta's there as well, all in the doorway going out of Ophiuchus. So it's very esoteric, right? Now, this is ruled by, Scorpio is ruled by Mars, but it's also to do with Pluto. Like Pluto is, the keeper of the way out of here. It's about your soul. And Asclepius, is carrying the snake, and he wants you to heal. He wants you to heal your shadow of Pluto and get reborn and, become transformed, because Ophiuchus is also known as the moths. So if you're a moth, you are transforming. So very close to the Puck building is a square Saturn cube, and this would be the first stage of alchemy, the black. So Saturn is the black sun, but Helios is also part of the first stage, which is the sun. So there's like this kind of swapping between the sun being black, and the second stage is all about the moon, and the moon being white, like a full moon. But with an eclipse, it's like the opposite's happening, right? The moon is black, and then the sun is white. It's no longer the first stage of the black sun. So it's kind of like an inverted first and second stage, which is what has to happen. We have to kind of transfer the opposite, so that you can kind of mend your shadow. So this is like a marriage. An eclipse is like a marriage. That's why it's called the diamond ring. It's like the engagement ring. When the eclipse is happening on December 4th, we have comet in the White House, in Arcturus. That's the White House star, right? So the lion is in the White House. So the lion is the strength card. It's infinity. And Leonard means brave lion. And this is all happening on December 4th, but back in 1984, David Bowie started his Sirius Moonlight Tour. I went, my first concert I ever went to was to his concert. And yeah, it was wild for me. I'd never seen that many people. So anyhow, on December 4th, also Peter Pan. So we've got, it's like, the symbolism is everywhere. It's like, so this is important because with this eclipse happening on the 4th, it's tying into the mythology of the moon and Pan. This other eclipse, this like half eclipse that we have on April 30th, it's happening in Aries, which is really important. It's the I am, right? And that's where Uranus, the Fool, the Phoenix is right beside it. And we have another two comets there. One's called the panstar, and the other one I'm not going to try to pronounce. I'll just call it 45P Honda. Now, it must be important, this comet panstar, because they've also created, data telescope, a huge telescope, strongest one. It's also known as panstar. So we got the pan again. All your eyes and ears open out there. Somebody mentioned this to me, a white deer killed by police after running through Merseyside streets. Now they got a red building behind it. So it's a white deer. While the deer and the bull, this all represents Taurus, okay? Anything with horns, it goes back to Taurus. So I wanted to see, what was going on in the sky where the moon was. Oh, it's right in the Silver Gate between the two horns. Well, of course, that's why they killed this white deer. And the white deer represents, the second stage of alchemy, which is to do with Princess Diana or Goddess Diana, and she represented deer, okay? Deer and the moon, okay? So stags and stuff. So we were getting, they turn that stag into blood, which is the next stage, which is going to red, okay? So you can see how the symbolism is playing out. The sacred bull is like in every single culture. It's crazy. So it's the bull, the deer, it's anything with horns. It's because it's supposed to represent our horns, right? For ascension, it's all to do with our own bodies, the micro and the macro. So here's this, I'm just showing you quick pictures of all these different cultures that have the horns, the Taurus. It's the toroidal field. There you go. It's massive, right? Just it's all to do with getting that bull out of that labyrinth. And Ariadne wears a red string to help her hero to get out of the labyrinth, and it's to do with red and blood, and the Minoans always had the red bull, so it's like the Red Bull, right? It's the drink, right? So it's like they're showing us that's what it is. The last stage is red, so it has to be the blood moon. So then I was thinking about the whole red heifer thing in the Book of Numbers. It's ties into Christianity, and I was wondering. I was like, I bet you that's tied. I bet you that heifer is tied to this blood bull. And then I was like, yep, there it is. They said here it has to do with dyed scarlet yarn and added to the fire. So there you go. It's the yarn around Ariadne's wrist, to get the bull out of the labyrinth. This red heifer, they just switched it, right? They turned it because they want to bring it into Christianity. So instead of it being a bull, it's now a heifer. And then, it's tied into the Quran. And in the Quran, it's Lo Allah. And I know David Bowie had an album called Lo, L-O. So that was kind of weird. I was just like, okay, this is all tying into biblical stuff now. So they end up having to sacrifice the bull, right? The bull gets killed. So then they're saying here it ties into Jesus. Jesus, identification of Jesus with the red heifer, but the identification as to the location of the crucifixion. So the red heifer was also considered sacred to the Greek god Apollo. Now this is all tying into Apollo as part of the marriage of the black and the white. It's like the sun needs to create the marriage. Okay, so because the first stage is black, it's the Negredo, which this is why Biden was saying Negro. And then the sun has to activate that to bring that into the white. And then they have to marry, the black and the white have to marry to get to the red. Okay, so it's like, anyhow, so that's kind of cool that it's all there. It's all with this red heifer. So there's the blood moon at midnight on 5:15, like David Bowie told us. That's when the angels leave. And then, this is in opposition to the sun that's in Taurus. Ariadne's there in conjunction. I've shown you guys this before, right by the Pleiades. And Mercury's there too. Mercury is the mind, so he's like the highest form. But also Uranus is the fool and the phoenix, and that's in the I am. So like I am the fool, I am the alpha, because the fool is the alpha. So I am the alpha. It's all there. It's all in the sky. I am the alpha and the omega, because the blood moon's an omega. Okay, and we have the miraculous star with the Omicron. So we've got it all. So the Danads were these like water nymphs. There was 50 of them. And anyhow, the story goes they had to marry these 50 brothers. And then their fathers didn't really want them to get married to him, but he got, had to promise them to this king. And so anyhow, she said to them, when you get married, kill them on the night of the marriage. So this is all tying into the black and white having to be married, okay? And getting into the last stage of alchemy. This is how it's passed through. It's passed through stories. So they end up murdering all of their grooms on the night of their marriage, except one didn't. So there was 49 that did. So then we get the number 49, the unicorn day, April 9th. And so then, one didn't. So she ends up going to Elysium in the underworld, the good place, and the rest of them have to go to Tartarus, and they have to carry water that has holes in the urns, and they've got to keep filling it up and filling it up. Well, that's basically the sacrifice, right? It's like you have to give yourself of your phosphorus. I do believe it's urine. It's urine. That's why they're called the urns. And anyhow, I'm convinced that that's what it is, because it activates DNA. It's phosphorus, what we're getting low on the planet, and I think it helps activate beings' DNA that don't have the ability to be psychokinetic. Okay, it's like we're part. That's why we're in a way, we're harvested, we're being used, okay, through that form. But I think in a way, I think we all agree to it. But anyhow, the whole purpose is to get to the other realm. So they end up doing this, and it's all, this painting is all red and white. So it's definitely the Rubedo. But we actually have the white, the red, and the gold. David Bowie actually did Broadway where he was acting as the Elephant Man, and I watched it. It was really, really good. And he talks about Romeo and Juliet's story and how he was selfish to kill himself and not wait to see if Juliet was really breathing. And that was a selfish act to kill yourself. And it was interesting the way the whole Broadway was created, because he was talking really bizarre because he's supposed to be like a deformed man. But the symbolism that they're using for this play is a big red, looks like a red blood moon to me. You know, it almost looks like a centaur as well. So I thought that was interesting that they use that symbol. And Chiron, the centaur that heals Asclepius, teaches him how to heal, is to do with the Ophiuchus constellation, the doorway out of here. And how do you heal? You heal through Venus and Earth, connecting to Venus and Earth, which is the bull. It's Taurus. Venus rules Taurus, and so does Earth. And you have to connect to or love everything that's ugly. So you have to love the shadow, love the elephant man. And then when you do that and you use your heart and you connect to Earth, therefore you can get out of the labyrinth. They have the symbol for Nike or for victory, the winged victory, is always with the bull, right? And it's like, I don't know, sacrificing the bull again. But it's for the god victory or Nike. So not only is Ariadne in conjunction with the sun, so is Victoria, which it's on like Victoria's month, right? Because it's Victoria Day is always by the Pleiades in May. And that's to do with the maypole and the May Queen. And everybody thinks it's for Queen Victoria, but there was actually a holiday at that time for the May Queen and everything, always in May, in pagan festivals. They used the bull symbol at the New York World Fair in 1939. That was the same time that they had that big Eva Maria ritual at the Lincoln Center when she sang the big opera for the Rites of Spring. That they use the same song in the Fantasia movie for the Rites of Spring, which is all to do with the Bacchus, freedom, which is all. That's why it has to be in spring. This blood moon has to be in spring because it all ties to the Rites of Spring. That's what I've learned, is that it's all to do with Bacchus, and it's to go into the Neverland where it's always spring. It's never cold, or there's never no food. It's always spring. So 1939 was important, right before the war. So the theme for all mall at the fair acclaimed 4 statues will symbolize freedom of religion, speech, press, and assembly. Churchmen praised plan Moses endorsed its emphasis on ideas that have made the country great. Splendid expression of art, Bishop Donahue praises. So this was the statues. They had the 4 freedom statues with the obelisk. And George Washington would be the 5th. So we have the pent, and he's by the sphere. Then they had the finity representation, which is always the hand in the lion's mouth, which means you need your strength. And this always has the symbol of infinity above the head on the tarot card. Here's a poem connecting immortality to spring. And the nectareous flowers usher in the fragrant spring, then are scattered, then, on the immortal ground. The lovely petals of violets, roses are wound in our hair. Loudly echo the voices of songs to the flutes, and choirs step in procession to dark-ribboned Semele. Now, the flute is all to do with the Fool, and also to do with Bacchus and Pan. Now, the dark-ribboned is, again, the red string, dark ribbon. It's to do with the blood of earth. Okay, Semele is Dionysus's mother. So she is the Mother Earth. Then you have to have the ancestral bloodlines. It's the blood, that we have to remember what happened on this planet and transmute all that shadow. We also have another comet that is in conjunction with Mars and Neptune, all on May 15th, which is really significant because Neptune has to do with the second stage. It goes with the moon. And Mars, is the I am, and it's also Scorpio Ophiuchus. It's like your flame, your inner flame, and there's a comet attached to it. Like, whoa! And you know how David Bowie had his album Hours all tied to Omicron? Well, the hours are the three fates. Okay, there's different fates, but these ones are important. There's Eunomia. She was close to the Pleiades when that whole George Floyd thing was going on. There's Dyke, which is Lady Justice again. And then there's Erin, okay, or Iron. It's really to do with Irish because it's Iron is Ireland, Erin. And if I go on Stellarium, it doesn't come up the way they have it spelled here, but it comes up Erin. And it's all to do with the triumph of peace. So this is all bringing us to peace now, okay, to find the symbolism for peace. Okay, so the hours, Eunomia is good order and good pasture. And Iron is peace and spring. Okay, so we're back to the spring again. And Dyke is justice. So it's pronounced Hora. So they're dancing because they've made it to the rites of spring, basically. And you can see the peacock up on the canopy there on the left. And so, yeah, I really like this painting. So Sir Edward John made it. So it's to do with these, they decide your fate, which way you're going to go. Now here there's four of them, and Erin is the one at the bottom here where she's holding a baby. Okay, so I was like, well, who's the baby? I got to figure out who the baby is. And what's really weird is the Irish built my house, and I have a plaque where I call my house Erin. Okay, so I have this, actually a brass, right on my fireplace that says Erin, and I stare at it every day. Well, Irene, or Erin, she holds she's peace and spring. And there's this baby with her, always this baby. So it's like, guess who it is? Guess who it is? It's Pluto. Here they're calling her the fortune goddess, okay, because Pluto has to do with good fortune. And it's her child, I guess, or it's, she's a virgin, but she's just holding this baby. But Pluto, that's your soul, and his name is Plutus. And he represented wealth and money. It wasn't Mercury. Mercury is your mind. They switched them. And Pluto has to do with wealth. Wealth, look, he's got money pouring out, wealth. And she's got like good fortune and health. Hippocrates. You take your Hippocratic oath when you're a doctor. It's for health. And he's eating like lots of fruit. He's got the cornucopia there. It's all to do with wealth because you've made it through to the other side. Now, what's interesting, when I looked up the word iron, we get the number 1515 again. So we get the 5 and the 1s again for May 15th. Okay, so then it's saying here to join and together into whole. That's what she means. Properly wholeness, when all essential parts are joined together. Peace, God's gift of wholeness. So she represents peace, but she's to tie with Pluto. And guess where she is? She's there too. So we have Ariadne, we have Victoria, and we have Erin, all in conjunction with the sun on the labyrinth of Taurus by the Pleiades on May 15th. Like, how more divine can that possibly be? It's impossible. You can't get any better. Well, Justice, Dyke, she's on the hand of God. She's like that the head of the Eclipses is like a paddle, and that's called the hand of God. So she's there, and that all ties into Las Palmas, the hand of God. And then Eunomia is on the end of the tail of Hydra by Corvus, which is like the crow that comes, or the raven that comes and warns you. But she's very close to Spica, so it's like to do with the, the Washington Monument, the Tree of Life, the tower. Remember I mentioned Asteria was the titan of the Golden Age. She was trying to wake up humanity. And then her daughter is Hecate, which is what the whole Washington Monument, Washington Triangle is all aligned to. Hecate, she's the holder of the keys. Now they had, Linda Carter, the original Wonder Woman. She's in the Wonder Woman 1984 movie where her name is Asteria, and she's hidden. They can't find her. She's kind of like become invisible, and she still goes around helping people, but she's invisible. Okay, so yeah, that's they're showing us, they're telling us. So David Bowie's wife just came out on November 15th, so we got the 115 again, numbers, with this new perfume, and she talks about, their property up in northern New York. And it's interesting, she has like this red painting behind her where I don't know if David did this painting, and it's like he's upside down, so the upside down world. And there's a crown behind the wheat. So this is all symbolism to the event. Then she mentioned she couldn't live there, but then she decided to go there to deal with her pain. And David would always say that in ancient times, these towers, there was cairns up on rock formations, used to navigate to let people know they were on the right track, she explains, of the handmade formations of the cairns, as they are known in Scottish Gaelic. Stacking them on the walls became this very calming ritual every day. It was a way to honor his memory, but also a reminder that I was in the right place. And this, she says, pausing, was my right place. They also inspired Iman to proudest bouts of the pandemic productivity on her amber glass bottle crafted in the shape of a cairn and filled with the first fragrance, a love letter to her relationship with Bowie. So it says here, when he proposed a year later, Bowie rented a boat over the river Seine in Paris, secretly arranging for the lights of each bridge to go up as they drifted by. So anyhow, she's showing that this is all tying into, healing your wounds. Now, the Seine River in Paris is where the Knights of Templar, Morlaix, who got burnt at the stake and put in that river, and so did Joan of Arc. She got killed there as well. So it has a huge history to it, to all these, heroes, warriors that were trying to fight for freedom and trying to bring justice to the world. I know a lot of people believe the Templars were evil, but they were trying to get the esoteric knowledge out of Egypt and trying to get it from Jerusalem and then try to bring it to humanity. They weren't trying to keep it a secret. They had to go underground because they were getting killed by the church. So there you go. It's like, who's the evil one? But, the whole thing is the information, right? The information wasn't hidden back then. It was all in the artwork, and it was, you could probably figure it out if you started to look at the artwork. But, all the artwork was destroyed and everything was taken away from the public view. And if you stood up against that, you were sacrificed on this river. Why did he choose to have the lights come on? Is because the number 15, phosphorus, is to do with this, what all this is about, right? Phosphorus means the bringer of light. And, you know, you could say Lucifer or Pan or whatever, everything's being demonized to be bad about this, but you want to be the illuminated so that you understand what this world is about and that there's a doorway out of here. And it's, you know, it's interesting that this blood moon is happening on May 15th. May is 5 Pent, which I showed you in my last video, is the pentagram, is the duat, it's the doorway out on the Kabbalah tree. And then the 15 is the light bringer. So it's all coded to everything, this date. She's saying it's his 22nd album. And David Bowie loved birch trees. Now, birch trees is where the Amanita muscaria grow. Okay, so that's interesting. And here's the fragrance with the looking like stones. Now, they got married on June 6th. And also, this is when he released Ziggy Stardust 20 years prior. Now, June 6th is between the horns, and they happen to get married with a Venus-Sun conjunction. And Ariadne was in conjunction with Mars in Pisces, and the moon was in conjunction with Jupiter in Leo. And Neptune was in conjunction with Uranus in Sagittarius, where he was born. So on the Cape of Sagittarius, that's where the sun is on January 8th when Elvis and Bowie was born. Now we know the Justice card represents Omega Libra, which is where this blood moon is. And it's all about balancing your shadow, right? And balancing your energies. And, you know, David Bowie's Black Star video, he had the blindfold on just like the Justice card does. And then he has an eclipse with the Venus star. The Black Star, Black Venus Day, Friday is Venus Day. Black Friday, the day Omicron is announced, which is the doorway out of here, but it's also could be the Omicron star, the Mira. So the wonder, star of wonder, right? And now we're getting an eclipse in a few days. So like I said, the eclipse is all about you know, the black and the white. And then he has in his video these two young gentlemen in kind of a pyramid shaped, you know, with the light behind them, and they're doing a little jiggy. That's like kind of awakening your kundalini. You do this kind of shake. And that's kind of trying to get that working. And then he's saying the center of it all is this burning flame, which is, it's your soul, it's the flame inside of you, it's your will, right? And that's always burning, and you have to kind of ignite it. That's why they have it like the torches all the time, and the Statue of Liberty, and the Olympic flame. It's the flame inside of us. So then he's holding up, you know, the Bible, the book with Venus on it, and they're all looking, you know, it's like, it's you know, a big event, it's sacred. Okay, and then David Bowie sings. He goes into this building with the pyramid, and he says, "I'll take you home. I'm the great I am, the great I am." So he says, I am, right? Which is I am the Alpha and the Omega. And the creepy part is like she goes up to this space, you know, it's like almost like Space Person or David Bowie or whatever in a Space Odyssey, and she opens up, you know, the shield. And it's a skull there with all these jewels all over it. It reminded me, I'd seen this Ariadne crown, which is all to do with amethyst, and there's the jewels all over the skull. And I was like, wow, it's kind of like the jeweled skull represents ascension. Because you have to die in one realm, and then you end up being moved into another reality, and you're there, you're alive. There's a mirrored universe somewhere that's happening just like that now. Okay, so, but you're gonna jump. So he's saying here in his lyrics, I'm a black star, I'm a black star. He says that how many times does an angel fall? We're angels, we're fallen angels. How many people lie instead of talking tall? So you can read through all his lyrics, but it's interesting that he's saying, yeah, I am the great I am, I'm the black star. Born the wrong way around. I'm not a white star, I'm a black star. Because it's the duality, and yes, we're born upside down. Because of the root ball of our brain and our vagus nerve, it's like we're a tree that's upside down. So we're in the upside down universe. That's basically what he's saying. That's why they have that picture with his wife being, with him upside down. It's all to do with alchemy and getting your crown. Elton John just came out with a new song with Stevie Wonder called The Finish Line, because they know we're getting close to the finish line. And in that video, they showed the red diamond, which would be the, diamond body that you have at the end of alchemy, and it would be red because of the marriage. The Star of Wonder, the Omicron Mira, which is like a mirror, right? Mira, Mira. And so it's saying that it is a white and a dwarf attached to it. I explained this before, but it's really red. You can see it here in the picture. It's like red and blue, so it's like the total polarity, or white and red, which is alchemy, the final stage. So yeah, so it's calling here. It's the wonderful star. It's the Star of Wonder. I'm telling you, it's the Star of Wonder, and it's the miraculous Star of Wonder right around Christmas time. They've announced it, and now we have an eclipse. It's amazing. Although Mira existence has been known for more than 4 centuries, the wonderful star continues to keep a captive audience by revealing more and more about itself. There you go. It's amazing. That's the Omicron star. And it's the beast. It's in the beast Situs, which is Sleipnir's, Odin's, Santa Claus's horse. And he's going to come and take you away eventually. Or they're showing us that it's tied to the horse. Here's another picture of David Bowie showing the red diamond card, and he's holding it in his hand with this. Somebody had mentioned this to me, because I didn't really notice it in the other picture of him holding it, but this one I noticed it. It's called the El Greco hand position, and you can see Jesus has it, and Venus, it's always on your heart. It's, trying to connect to your heart. It's supposed to look like a W or an M, but I think it's an M. Well, it could be W. It's M is 13, it's Ophiuchus, and W can be Cassiopeia, but it's also DNA, right? It's 23, letter 23. Whoa, so anyhow, that's the next 3 things in the sky that we have to watch out for. So we have some time, but I really do think it's going to get more and more crazy, especially with this Omicron just hitting. It's going to get nuts. So I think you have to look at it like it's the Star of Wonder, the miraculous star, and don't, go into the fear of, what they're going to try to say it is. Just keep thinking of Omicron, Mira. It's like a mirror, right? It's like mirror, mirror. It's pretty cool. So what I want to say is thank you so much for helping me find some of these clues. You guys are sending me stuff. It's great. And thanks for booking readings. And I had a wonderful client offer to help get my a new website going so that I can get the online school kind of in automation. It's easy to, click on and everything. So I'm going to work with him to get that up and running. So that was like an angel sent from heaven. So I'm very blessed about that and grateful. And have a great weekend. It's Thanksgiving weekend, and be grateful, be thankful, and stay in bliss, guys. Follow me on Facebook if you want to keep, right up with what's happening, because soon as that Omicron got announced, I started posting all about David Bowie's Omicron. So, sometimes things come quick and I just post stuff, but if you want to stay right on the pulse, follow me on Facebook, crystal-tyme. The link is in the description box. Take care.